Well, it's time. We've set the table, and that's done. So now it's time to think about what's going to go into this crock pot. And tonight we're going to have a delicious soup. And I tell you what, whatever I can find in the refrigerator, that's what's going into this pot. Because you know, sometimes you have an accumulation of fresh vegetables and you need to find a way to use them. And you may be tired of just green beans. You may be tired of just peas. You may not be a fan of just carrots. And so if that's the case, put it together in your crock pot. Put a good liquid base over it. And if you like, add a little bit of meat, some type of meat, whether it's chicken or poultry. It can even be seafood. And we're going to add all of that into this pot. And tonight it's going to be a surprise, almost like a stew, because guess what? I am going to have a little bit of Italian sausage. I'm going to throw in some, at the end, I'm going to throw in some salmon and maybe a few shrimp, but it's going to be a tomato base. It's going to have lots of vegetables, and it is going to be warm and tasty and delicious. And when you sit down to this table, you're going to say, oh my gosh, this is so good. We might even put together some cornbread, and that will make it perfect. So let's get busy and let's put our crock pot together, okay? Now, I have sauteed a pound of Italian sausage, and this is hot Italian sausage. I did that purposely because that way I don't really have to add any pepperoncino, so you can probably see the smoke coming up off of it. Now, so I'm going to put that in the bottom. I have some onions that I had actually sliced and diced earlier, and they've been sitting in the freezer, so I'm going to throw those in because after all, this is going to be going all day. And I have a few more that are in another container, and while I'm not going to use this whole container, I'm going to see if I can take a few out and add some additional onions to this mixture. That's the one thing, that when you're cutting onion, you might as well cut it all, and then that way you'll have some things. Now you can see I diced some. These were actually more thinly cut, but you know, once they're in the mix, no one will know. So I'm going to make sure everything's out of there. Put the top back on this because you know, onions and the smell of onions can kind of take over. So I like to keep them in a Ziploc bag and hopefully control the fragrance. Now, I also have some green peppers. I'm going to add some of those, and I like these. All right, now, so we've got our carrots in. Now what's not in here, and oftentimes I will use hashed brown potatoes. And I use the O'Brien hashed brown potatoes because the O'Briens have onions, they have green peppers, they have all of those things already in the mix. So we're going to use actually our potatoes that we used that we had the other night, and I'm going to just kind of toss those in. I think I'm going to add some cabbage to this because I have some cabbage that needs to be used. Now, these potatoes are just a little larger than I want them to be, and I have some whole potatoes that are in there as well. So I'm going to have to do a little dicing with them. So I'm going to move this out of the way for just a second, back it up. I have a mat that I'm going to put here. I'm going to take the whole potatoes and put them out of the way because I don't need them. And I'm going to let the ones that are smaller come out. because those are going to be the ones I use. I'm going to put the big ones back in. Don't need them right now. And I'm going to put them in that bag, that freezer bag that we started with the onions, with the green peppers. I'm going to put all that right here. And that way, they're kind of curtailed. These are vegetables for soup. So all of that is in that one bag. Okay? So let's get a knife. And let's see if we can, without hurting ourselves. There we go. We can dice them just a little bit smaller if they're big. And there are some that are a little big. And some that just need a little bit of dice. Whoops, lost one. Okay, so we'll put those together. And you know what it is. This mat is a little slick. And it makes the potatoes slide. So that's why I'm having a little bit of an issue. So I'm going to work on these. And then if you're in a hurry, you could just throw them in, because eventually they will break down anyway. Now what these potatoes are going to do is that they're going to add the starch to your soup base. Now you notice I haven't put any tomatoes in yet, no liquids in yet, but they're coming. So I'm going to finish up with these potatoes, and you know, most of them are a nice size, so I don't really have to worry about them. But a few just needed a little extra doctoring. Okay, potatoes, check. That part's done. Let's see if I can find the one that fell, because what I don't want to do is to slip and fall on it. So, that potato goes in there. All right, let's get those tomatoes. I have the tomatoes, and these are petite diced Italian style. So they've been diced, and they have Italian seasonings in them. Now, do they have enough? Probably not. But that's one. I'm going to add in 2 cans. And I'm going to fill these with water. Cold water. That's one. And what this also does is that it rinses the can out. It's all that goodness that you left inside. And puts that into the mix. Alright, so there we go. We got our can. Those are cans that we had. I'll recycle those in just a moment. Let me get my wooden spoon so we can give this baby a turn. Everything all mixed up. Now we've got meat in there, we've got our onions in there, we've got our, there we go. That's what we want it to look like, nice and hearty. Now I could add spinach. Oh man, the list just goes on of the things that we could put into this soup. Okay, but we're not quite finished yet. Now, I'm going to take my pepper shaker, and you know it always leaks out a little bit, and in my palm, I'm going to tap out about a teaspoon of pepper. And I'm going to do the same with the salt, because we have not added any salt to this. Okay, and I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of salt, and this is pink Himalayan. Alright, so that's done. Now, we need some more seasoning, so I'm going to add in also about a teaspoon and I'm literally using a teaspoon of house seasoning. Now, you know, house seasoning has onion powder, it's got garlic powder, it's got paprika, it's got some a little more pepper, a little more salt, it's got some pepperoncino. It has a little bit of everything in it. So it is a good mix and gives you good flavor. So let's put that in. And like I said, for my house seasoning, I kind of keep the salt down to a minimum. I like to be able to control my own salt and know exactly how much is going in to my mix. Now, the next thing I'm going to put in is an Italian spice mix. This Italian spice mix is just merely oregano, thyme. Let me get my glasses and I can tell you exactly what it is. Okay, it has oregano, thyme, garlic powder. Actually, it has a little bit of Romano cheese, and it just gives a good Italian flavor. It has a little bit of basil in it, and there we go. So that's good to go. So let's give that a stir. Now, I didn't have any, like a can of cannelli beans. I could have added beans in. I did not do that. I could have certainly done that, but I didn't. I think I have a tiny bit of cabbage that I'm going to add in. So, hold on one second. All right, we're putting our crock pot over on the side. We've got our cabbage in. I've given it a good stir. I added in 2 additional teaspoons of chicken bouillon just to give it a little extra flavor after kind of topping it off with liquid. And we're going to let that baby sleep for the rest of the day. Well, the soup is just about ready, and I'm cleaning up from having mixed up my cornbread for tonight. I'm going to take the skillet out of the oven, and you know what? When the cornbread goes into the oven, you know that it's not long before dinner is served. Now, so the skillet is screaming hot. Screaming hot. So I have butter that's in the bottom of it. And I'm just going to pour out. It's been pretty dark. So let me get a paper towel and I'll bring you right back. Okay, I needed to wipe that out. And I have some butter here that I'm going to take about a tablespoon, and I am going to rub it all over the inside of my hot skillet. And you're going to see that as soon as it touches that skillet, it's going to start to melt. And I'm going to let it melt quite a bit. And I'm doing the sides of the skillet as well as the bottom. Be very careful when you're doing this. Okay. All right, the butter's there. And my mix is here. I'll put the recipe down below. But I also have a video that shows how I make my cornbread, my Southern cornbread. It's so easy and so quick to put together. So I am putting all of that in. Okay, this is going in the sink so it can be cleaned up. You can see the butter accumulating around the sides, but everything's hot and ready to go. So I'm going to open up this oven because we don't want anything to happen between here and the oven. We want it to cook well. Alright, it's in the oven. It'll be about 20 to 30 minutes depending on your stove. Alrighty, well guess what time it is? The cornbread is ready. I've got a slice of it right here, and I am going to dish up a bowl of soup. I'm using my English Garden bowls. You can see it smells wonderful, and I have not added anything to it. You know, I talked about maybe possibly putting some seafood in it. I left it just the way it was. So I am very happy with our, I have to call it Italian soup. And you know, we had all of the vegetables, we had the Italian sausage, and man, you can just see the steam coming off of it. I am really very, very pleased with this soup. So let me put it over here. I'm going to taste that cornbread for you. Cornbread is always good. Like I said, I'll add the recipe down in the description, and it's also a part of my free Thanksgiving cookbook if you didn't get one. Be sure to go to my website and you can just print it from there. Oh, that's good. Buttery, tasty. Now, let's get to the soup. It is cold tonight, and I just want something warm and inviting. Woo, hot, hot, hot. Oh, that's good. Because I use the hot sausage, I don't need anything else as far as seasoning is concerned. I will put the recipe down in the box below. Oh, guys, you gotta fix this. This is so good. It will be perfect for your family, or in my case, my honey and I are getting ready to dive into this soup. So, blessings to you and yours. I hope you have a wonderful evening with your loved ones. Love God and know that everything else is just gravy. So, have a great evening, and I'll see you on Friday back here in the kitchen. Enjoy.